You won't believe what my own parents did to me. Imagine working for years, saving every spare dollar, and finally being close to buying your dream car, only for your parents to sell it out from under you. For your sister-in-law of all people. And then, when I finally made her pay back every cent, their regret was written all over their faces. Before I dive into how it all happened, don't forget to subscribe for more real-life stories just like this one. You won't want to miss the ending. So let me start with a bit about me. I'm a 26-year-old woman, and ever since I was a teenager I've had this obsession with cars. Not just any car, I had my heart set on a very specific model. It wasn't some flashy luxury sports car, but it was mine. The one I'd been dreaming about since I was old enough to drive. I worked 2 jobs all through college, skipped vacations, cut corners everywhere just to build up the savings for it. It wasn't just about owning a car, it was about proving to myself that I could achieve something I'd worked for without anyone's help. My parents always acted supportive when I talked about it. They'd say, "Oh honey, that's so great," or "We're so proud of how hardworking you are." But deep down, I always sensed something off. My family dynamic has always been complicated. My brother is the golden child, the one who can do no wrong, and by extension his wife, my sister-in-law, has been treated like a queen since the day she married him. If she sneezed, my parents would rush to buy her tissues made of silk. Meanwhile, I was expected to work, save, sacrifice, and not complain. So when I finally found the exact car I wanted at a good price, I was over the moon. I even brought my dad to see it with me, thinking he'd be proud. He nodded, looked impressed, and told me, "That's a good investment." I thought, for once, maybe they'd actually be happy for me. But a week later, everything came crashing down. I came home one afternoon, and my car, the one I'd put a deposit on, the one I was literally preparing to pick up, was gone. At first, I thought maybe there'd been some mistake or the dealer had made an error. But then I saw the look on my mom's face, this nervous little smile she always has when she knows she's done something wrong. My dad was sitting in his chair like nothing had happened, and then my brother's wife came waltzing and holding the keys. The keys to my car. My dream car. I remember feeling like the air had been sucked out of the room. I asked, "Why does she have my car?" My mom started rambling about how my sister-in-law's old car had broken down and how they just couldn't bear to see her struggle. She said, "Sweetie, you're young and hardworking, you'll get another chance. But she needs it now." I looked at my dad, hoping he'd say it was some kind of joke, but he just shrugged and muttered something about family sacrifices. My sister-in-law smiled at me like she'd won the lottery. She actually had the nerve to say, "Don't worry, I'll take good care of it." My blood boiled. This wasn't some random object they'd borrowed. This was years of my blood, sweat, and tears, and my parents had just given it away. In that moment, I felt something snap inside me. I realized that if I didn't stand up for myself, I'd always be the one they walked over. But instead of exploding right then and there, I forced myself to stay calm. I bit my tongue, smiled tightly, and walked out. Because if there's one thing I've learned, it's that revenge tastes so much sweeter when it's carefully planned. And trust me, I was going to make every single one of them regret underestimating me. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my sister-in-law's smug smile as she jingled those keys like they belonged to her. I wasn't just angry, I was humiliated. My own parents had made it crystal clear that her comfort mattered more than my years of sacrifice. But while they thought I would roll over and accept it, I started working out a plan. I knew one thing, my sister-in-law couldn't handle money. She had expensive tastes, but zero discipline. Designer handbags, luxury skincare, impulse online shopping. You name it, she had it. My brother worked hard, but even his salary couldn't keep up with her spending. And my parents, they'd been covering for her for years, bailing her out whenever she maxed out her cards. It made me sick, but it also gave me the perfect opportunity. The first step was to quietly gather information. I started spending more time around my brother's house under the pretense of helping out. I'd offer to run errands with her, and she couldn't resist showing off her latest purchases. She bragged about her credit card points, her store memberships, the loans she'd taken out, because everyone lives on credit these days. She didn't realize I was making mental notes of everything she revealed. At the same time, I threw myself into my job. I took on overtime, picked up side projects, anything to rebuild my savings. I refused to let them break me. Every dollar I earned was fuel for the fire burning inside me. The harder I worked, the clearer my vision became. I wasn't just going to replace the car. I was going to make sure the exact value of that car came out of my sister-in-law's pocket. Then the universe handed me my opening. One afternoon, my sister-in-law was complaining that her business idea wasn't taking off. She wanted to start an online boutique, but had no clue where to begin. She sighed dramatically and said, "I just need someone smart with money, you know? Someone like you. If only you could help me get it off the ground." I almost laughed at the irony. But instead, I smiled sweetly and told her I'd be happy to help. I explained that starting a business takes discipline, careful planning, and, of course, funding. Her eyes lit up. She begged me to show her how to invest in herself, and within a week, I was helping her draft a budget and set up accounts. She thought I was being her supportive sister-in-law, but what I was really doing was building a paper trail. Every cent she funneled into this so-called boutique went through accounts I helped her set up. I made sure receipts, invoices, and transfers were meticulously documented, with her name on everything. I wasn't stealing from her. I was just giving her rope to hang herself with. Meanwhile, I played the role of the supportive daughter at home. My parents kept praising me for being so mature about the car situation. They said things like, "It means so much to us that you care about family more than possessions." Inside, I wanted to scream. But outwardly, I just smiled and nodded. Let them think I was over it. Let them believe I was the dependable one. What they didn't realize was that every day, my sister-in-law was digging herself deeper. The boutique bled money from day one. She spent more on packaging and aesthetics than on actual stock. She ordered bulk products she couldn't sell, and when customers complained, she ignored them. I kept gently advising her, but she brushed me off, insisting she knew what the market wanted. I knew exactly what was coming, and I couldn't wait. Then one evening, about 3 months after my parents stole my car, my sister-in-law came running to me in tears. She was drowning in debt. Her boutique had flopped. Her credit cards were maxed out, and collectors were starting to call. She sobbed, "I don't know what to do, please help me. You're the only one I can trust." And in that moment, I realized I had her right where I wanted her. When she came crying to me about her debt, I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. But then I remembered the way she twirled those car keys in front of me, the way my parents told me to be mature while stripping away something I had worked years for. That memory hardened me like stone. This wasn't the time for pity. This was the time to collect. I let her cry for a while, then gently said, "You know, I can help you. But nothing in life is free. If you want me to fix this mess, you're going to have to repay me for everything that was taken from me." She blinked at me through her tears, confused. I leaned closer and said it clearly, "The car. My car. You're going to repay me every single cent of its value." At first, she laughed like I was joking. But when she saw the look on my face, her smile disappeared. She sputtered, "But your parents gave it to me, it wasn't my fault." I shook my head and told her it didn't matter who signed it over. She was the one driving it, the one who benefited, the one who owed me. I didn't stop there. I pulled out the neatly organized folder I'd been keeping. Inside were all the records of her boutique expenses, her loans, her maxed-out credit cards. I told her that if she refused, I'd make sure my brother knew every detail of how she had tanked their finances. And if that wasn't enough, I had no problem showing my parents, her family, even the creditors exactly how irresponsible she'd been. Her face turned pale as she realized how deep in trouble she really was. Suddenly, she wasn't so smug anymore. She begged me not to ruin her reputation, swore she'd pay me back, promised she'd do anything if I just kept this between us. That was the sweetest moment, because now she was the one under my control. I told her I'd draw up a repayment plan, complete with signed agreements. Every month, she would transfer money into my account until the full value of my car had been covered. If she missed even one payment, those files would see the light of day. The first transfer came through a week later. I remember staring at the notification on my phone and feeling a wave of satisfaction wash over me. It wasn't just about the money. It was about justice. My car had been ripped away from me, but now, piece by piece, I was taking back what was mine. Of course, my parents eventually noticed something was going on. My mom asked why my sister-in-law seemed so stressed lately. I shrugged and said she was just busy with her boutique. My dad commented on how mature I'd been handling things, and I almost laughed in his face. If only they knew. But the real turning point came a few months later, when I had finally saved enough from my job, plus the payments I was collecting from her, to buy myself another car. Not just any car, the upgraded model of the dream car I'd lost. When I pulled into my parents' driveway in it, their jaws nearly hit the ground. My sister-in-law froze on the porch, clutching her keys like they'd just turned into shackles instead of a prize. My mom stammered, "But how did you afford this?" I smiled and said, "Hard work, discipline, and making sure people repay what they owe." My dad just looked stunned, but my sister-in-law's face told the whole story. She knew I had outplayed her, and she couldn't say a word without exposing herself. For the first time, I felt the power shift. I wasn't the overlooked daughter anymore. I was the one in control, and they all knew it. But I wasn't done yet, not by a long shot. The day the truth finally came out wasn't something I planned. It happened naturally, and honestly, it couldn't have been more perfect. My sister-in-law had been keeping up with the payments, but just barely. Every month she handed over money with this tight, bitter smile, like she hated that I had the upper hand. I didn't care. Every dollar was proof that she owed me, and I wasn't letting her forget it. Then one evening at a family dinner, the tension finally snapped. My parents were bragging about how generous they'd been, helping my brother and his wife by giving her my car. They acted like it was some noble sacrifice, like they were heroes for looking out for her. My mom actually looked at me and said, "You could learn a thing or two about family loyalty from your sister-in-law." That was it. I couldn't hold back anymore. I laughed, loud, sharp, and bitter enough to make everyone stop eating. My dad frowned and asked what was so funny. I leaned back in my chair and said, "You want to talk about family loyalty? Let's talk about how she's been repaying me every single month for the car you two stole from me." The room went dead silent. My brother turned to his wife confused and asked, "What is she talking about?" My sister-in-law's face drained of color. She tried to stammer out an excuse, but I didn't give her the chance. I pulled out the folder I'd kept hidden all this time, the repayment agreements, the transfers, the boutique financial disaster I'd documented. I laid it on the table like a bomb and watched it explode. My brother's jaw clenched as he read through the papers. My mom started sputtering that I was being cruel, that I didn't need to humiliate her like this. But I wasn't backing down. I looked right at my parents and said, "You betrayed me. You sold my dream out from under me to pamper her. And the only reason I've stayed quiet is because I decided to handle it myself. She owes me, and she's paying me back because, unlike you two, I know the value of hard work and respect." For the first time in my life, my parents didn't have a single thing to say. My dad just looked down at his plate, ashamed. My mom's face crumpled like she wanted to cry. And my sister-in-law? She tried to play the victim, claiming I was extorting her, but my brother shut that down fast. He told her point blank that she had embarrassed him and the family, and if she didn't finish paying me back, she could explain herself in court. I'll never forget the look on their faces that night. Shock, regret, and humiliation all rolled into one. The golden daughter-in-law they'd put above me was exposed for the reckless mess she really was, and the daughter they'd underestimated had outsmarted them all. Not long after, my parents tried to smooth things over, saying they didn't realize how much the car meant to me, that they only wanted to help. I told them flat out that their words didn't matter anymore. Respect isn't about what you say, it's about what you do. And they showed me exactly where I stood in their eyes. That's why I stopped looking to them for approval. Now I have the upgraded version of my dream car parked in my driveway, fully paid off by my own hard work and every cent I squeezed out of the woman they favored over me. Every time I see it gleam in the sun, I'm reminded that no one, not even family, gets to rob me of what I've earned. And as for my parents, they regret it every day because they lost more than just the chance to celebrate my success. They lost my trust, and that's something they'll never be able to buy back.